I never really saw anybody in media that was like, oh, like being a chef is something to be proud of. Being a chef is something that you can actually succeed in, and be great, be great, be great.
Welcome to, what's this, episode 13?
Episode 13.
Episode 13 of the 1,000 Days podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Nicole, and Chef DQ. Today's topic, I'm actually wearing it. I think it's the concept of what's for me is for me. And I think it's important to kind of stay grounded in, I guess really just the concept of what's yours. It's very easy to kind of get distracted in what you see around you, what you see other people have and things like that. But you don't always fully understand, even seeing someone else's successes, you don't know what they had to sacrifice. You don't know what prices they had to pay to attain that level, So to me, it's very important to understand that your journey is yours, You would rather have your own problems than anybody else's, so kind of, it almost makes you grateful, for your own struggles, because it's almost like your struggles are built for you to overcome and, no one else. Someone else might be put in your life or put in your shoes, and I mean, they're struggling like, man, how are you able to do this? How do you work like this? How do you sustain? How can you, but you're just like, yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but, it's not impossible to me, at least. And, I feel like that just kind of makes you grateful for your own journey in that kind of way. So what do you think about that? Like, as far as like, as you've seen your business progress, DQ's like, do you feel like you've kind of stayed true to, yes, this is my journey and I'm sticking to that? Or, have you seen yourself kind of falter based on, seeing outside influences and things like that?
Definitely falter. I think that has been a thing. But the funniest thing will be, so we just went to Outer Banks a couple weeks ago with our friends, and she was kind of teaching me how to kayak. Never been in a kayak. I can swim, not even afraid of the water necessarily. So a lot of that fear that people may have, I didn't have. But nevertheless, on the kayak balancing, it's kind of like I had a fear of falling. Now the water is only 4 feet deep, so even if you do fall, you can stand up, right? And so there's no even thing out there for you to say, okay, well, something could possibly happen. But just that balancing act of like, okay, don't go too far to the right, don't go too far to the left, just kind of stay. But the kayak itself has like an automatic, not an automatic like it's gonna stop you from doing it, but it kind of has like an automatic like leveling kind of thing where you're like, okay, if I go to the right, it's gonna kind of pull me to the left in a sense, right? So a big thing where I took from that was in this business journey, what's been really happening is we'll veer off to the left or to the right, and I'll veer off and somebody say, oh, I have this big opportunity for you, this big thing, and I'll go over to the left, right? And now we're in another country. Now we're in another state. Now we're doing something completely different than cooking. Now we're doing a delivery service. Now we're, consulting restaurants. Now we're doing all this stuff, and it's cool. It's fine. It's financially a little bit better or whatever, right? It helped us in a lot of ways, and it even helped us grow in learning what we, could do with what we have. But I realized that it's always like this balancing act of coming back to being right where you are. So I love that what's for me is for me is because I feel like even if you go all the way to the left, it's gonna bring you back to like that even balance of like, this is for you, and it's gonna show you. It may allow you to kind of be to the left for a little bit, but eventually enough stuff is going to happen that's going to show you, like, all right, well, let's get back to it. You know, that was enough veering off to this side. You know, go get back to where you're supposed to go. And I think that's kind of like what I love is that statement. Whereas it's not a statement you have to argue. I like stuff like that. I like. I don't know. It's a word for it, but I don't really know like what that is outside of just saying it's a fact, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a you know more eloquent way to say it, right? Of saying like what's for me is for me is that's just it. It's like dogma. It's like it's like this is doctrine of how the world works. It's just going to happen. May happen slow, fast, whatever, but it's going to get there.
I think we interrupt the process too. And there's a saying my sister says all the time, and it's like her saying is I'm so sorry.
Somebody was paying attention. Sorry, Natalie.
Tragic.
Be still.
Thus saith the Lord.
But and a lot of people put and know God. That's what's popping in my mind, which is conflicting my words. But nonetheless, it's be still, because if you do that, if you take in, your direction is going to be a little bit more clearer. Because I think a lot what happens to us is the flesh. Not trying to make this spiritual or godly, but it's all universe based. And I'm not here to debate anybody's faith or anybody's religion or who that they choose to go to for their peace, but it's all universe based. It's all what's out there, and if we don't listen, if we don't be still, we don't see the direction, and a lot of times we interrupt that direction because we think as flesh we should navigate it, and I don't think that that's it. How you know what's for you is when you do whatever it is that you do, prayers, meditate, bring yourself back to down, within the earth, the grounds of where we came from and where we've evolved, from where we evolved, right? We understand that it's not going to do anything that's not supposed to happen. Yeah. Like you said, like both of you guys said. It's going to veer you. You're going to veer to the side, veer to the left, veer to the right. It's going to bring you back. And we just have to learn to stop wanting to be in control and direct the narrative. And when I think of that, I think of be still, and know God. And it really brings it gives me chills actually, because there's so many points in my life where I've come to know that that's just the way of progression. That's just the process. And the amount of times that I have gotten my own way, where we have gotten in our own way by getting onto someone else's business, knowing dang well we know exactly what we're doing, but we didn't have anything to materialize it, to quantify it, to say it's the right way. And we've veered. Sorry, you didn't veer. I veered. But and I think about even our process of having like a shared kitchen. We could have been there 3 years ago. And with the delivery service to hold food trucks, we were approved.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Mm-hmm. And so we can't change anything, but we have just got to, do the work and stay steadfast and know that this journey is ours. Now, how it looks may not feel good. It may not feel right, but this is our journey. Mm-hmm. This is literally our journey. And there's so many things that have veered us off of it, but we're right back here. And we're still going, in our next venture coming September. It's like, all right, we're going to try another space and try, meaning like a space that's efficient, effective, because I think that's different, and for us and what we, and where we need to go in our direction. And it's scary, but I think that's what we need. We have not been in an efficient space.
Yeah.
So how can we grow if we're not in the space that's going to allow us to grow? So I'm sorry, I know I kind of snuck in and was supposed to just kind of make a correction of one word, but or make the statement, but we have just got to be still. And my sacrifice and my knowing that we're going in the right direction. What I've I don't speak very much. You guys, again, we talked about it. I speak a lot.
I don't know if you've seen the eyes.
Yes, I did. My peripheral still works. But no, like, I made a sacrifice to come back on full time. But then I found myself like, do I need to get another job? Do I need to try something else? And I literally had myself the coming to Jesus with myself 3 weeks ago. And I was like, no, I asked for this. And I asked for all things that don't benefit us to be removed. Why am I still trying to take this narrative?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel good. My credit cards are screaming.
Yeah.
The light bill, and I'm being candid here. I'm not trying. It's not. Everybody would be like, "Oh, put your business out." It's no business.
I mean, that's the point of this, right?
It's all screaming right now at home. But if I do something different, then why the heck did I say I'm trusting my God? Why?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it. And so I am here in this journey, and I'm getting this enlightenment, and it's almost scary for me because it's not my dream. I'm okay with clocking in and collecting a paycheck every 2 weeks, but I'm having to work on me and how much I infer myself. As I said in the last episode, I am one of the characters. What am I doing? Why am I acting less than? And so, and I know that this journey is what's for me because we have to make it subjective, right? We can't just objectify it and say us, because it is us. Mm. But separately, if we don't bring us to the table, then us doesn't work, right? If I don't bring me to the table, and same for you and same for you, us doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like I know that this is my journey because I envisioned this growing up,
Mm-hmm.
And it was always my journey to support my partners. So then I just have to keep taking this a step further and keep going. And so we just have to listen, and we can't fight it, But I would say for you, Chef, like, this is for you, but you have to stay the course.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've gotten there where you've realized that. What was the first thing?
What's that?
That we got all excited for and made this video for Grubhub. Our first off venture.
Oh, the commercial? You talking about?
But what the creation of the commercial was, we were going to bring a brand in. I forget the name of the brand.
Tiger Bites.
Tiger Bites. Oh,
that was the first derailment.
That was super left.
She bought Tiger Bites.
And I was just like, wait, what? And at that time I was part-time in the restaurant. So I'm hearing y'all like raving about this stuff. And I'm like,
We weren't raving about it.
Well, he was just like, oh my gosh, this is my break.
And I thought Tiger was coming to save us all, man. He was still with one of the Kardashians, wasn't at that time. I thought
that's going far. But anyway, we're not here to do his history. The point is that
history was made.
I'm hoping that Chef has finally realized that
Tiger not gonna save us.
Oh man,
mainly that part.
But that he has a drive and a passion that makes this for him, and he just can't get sidetracked any longer. Mm-hmm. And we often think that, and what I'm glad that we've been very good on is every business that is put in front of us is not for us. Mm-hmm. And we've been great about not sacrificing that. And maybe we're not as far as our peers are, but I think there's something in that, because you can listen, read, and watch every step of your growth, instead of just kind of plugging yourself in everywhere, doing everything. So I think, my word to you is just like, you got to listen and stop going. Just like be still. Like I think there's a lot that you can learn for that, and I put in my prayers for us every day, multiple times out the day when we're getting through. But I just, maybe we need to start praying have a moment of coming together. But I think, we have to build our base forge of this is ours. So let's make it ours.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing that's even kind of coming to fruition for me right now is really diving into what we can do and what we have, like what we have proven ourselves time and time again, that we're really, really, really good at this specific thing. And I think it's almost a slap in the face to whatever powers that be that really put us all in the place to be at the time that it's flourishing. So, it's like one thing if somebody's like, oh, well, I was born and I'm really good at making comic books. Well, that's a pretty small niche right now, and a lot of people aren't really going to buy comic books. But if you were born in 1940s or 1950s and
prime time.
60s and well, I mean, just at the beginning of that era, now you get to see, decades of it evolving, and you're coming to be in your career. Now you're like, oh, it's the 70s, 80s, and now it's big, and you're prepared for it. It's like we were in the correct position at the correct time. It couldn't be no better to say, I want to open a restaurant, but it make money from apps. It makes money from delivery. I don't need people to come into the restaurant. I actually just want to build a good chef team that can just make multiple things under multiple different names, and we can handle having multiple different cuisines and go from breakfast to chicken to Indian flatbread pizza to funnel cakes, back to breakfast, to burgers, to sandwiches, to this, to that. And, it's like we can just flow in that. And not a lot of people, can even do that. Because, I even look at how I was even trained in that way, right? Because my first chef job outside of school was Wegmans. And I literally went into Wegmans learning to make different cuisines on the fly, right? So I started in Wockery, which was just Asian food. Then you go to Homestyle, which is just American Southern food and Italian food. Then you go to subs. Then you go to pizza. Then you go to sushi. And you're just like, all right, this hour I need to do this. This hour up, that's busy. I need to go over here. And that's why I learned to even come to be a chef. So when I open my restaurant, it's like, okay, I can handle doing so much stuff. And miraculously, this is the business that is flourishing right now in the world. Not even just for us, not even just for, specific to RVA Cafe, to Red Indigo. This is what, this culinary field is migrating to.
Well, yeah, because, you look at the park. I don't know.
Yeah, I've been there.
You've been there. And
oh yeah, same concept.
It's the same concept. They just are able to build this.
Well, they're building. So now what they're
business.
doing is they're building. The food is like, we're gonna build attractions around the food. So you think about theme parks. You think about theme parks. And you go to the theme park for the attractions, and then there's just food there because they know you're going to get hungry. And now we're kind of switching.
Well, you don't get hungry; it's in your face. But anyway, we'll get debated any way we like.
But now you have those on mini kind of things where we have these little attractions. And then we have all these different types of food within this one space. So it's like, what are we doing? Like, why are we not just doing this and only doing this? Because not only are we really good at this, this is what people are doing.
Because they want variety. People want variety. We sell multi cuisines We sell multi cuisines every night.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cookie, there's a funnel cake, there's a chicken sandwich, there's a grilled cheese sandwich. It's amazing how people have really gravitated to it, and it's almost frustrating because people want to push back on it, and they're like, well, what is this? Why is the name just not on the building? And then you explain to them like, well, we have 5 names. You can't put 5 names on a building.
Yeah.
And it's that people want it to look the way that they've been taught. So we've been taught that a storefront should bear only what that one storefront brings. Mm-hmm. That you shouldn't bear 5, 6 different brands under that one store. And that we should make it that drivers understand what the concept is. Instead of saying, well, wait a minute. We've been taught when we went to the mall. You didn't have, you had 8, 10. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it was an area with the food court, and then you had little sub-side ones on the side. So what is so hard?
Yeah.
In a restaurant bringing that concept. And the other thing that they say is, oh, well, this is multiple businesses in here. No. It's just one business. I mean, I feel these questions every day that I'm open in the front here, and it's like, and I'm not frustrated so much with the question or the lack of understanding, but it's more of someone's bringing a concept that's different. Let's embrace it. Mm-hmm. And let's understand truly it's just that we don't have this $1 million building that forges it, that everyone's like, oh, okay. But they come in here and they're like, oh, well, why? They're questioning it. But did you question Chesterfield Town Center?
I mean, I feel like even that's more so, plays towards the fact that this really is our journey, where it's like we can have something as complex as this, and we understand it fully, inside and out. And we're like, how do you not get this? It's super obvious. Look at the signs. It's all right there. And, anybody else on the outside is looking like, what are y'all even doing? How is this working? Yeah. I feel like that's even just proof that, like I said, this really is ours, because we're that immersed in it. I really love what you said about just kind of being still and listening. I feel like that's just acceptance of, when you stop kind of looking at arbitrary goals or like even, trying to make people understand what you're doing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You just kind of flow into, well, we're doing this. We understand this fully, so let's just keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? We know where we're at. I had an interesting story, like an interesting thought. One time I was at Buckrow Beach, and just a nice day at the beach. I just wanted to go swim in the ocean, and I remember just kind of standing out in the water, and I could see a buoy out in the distance. Not too far out, from the shore, but like far out enough where you'd actually have to swim a little bit. I'm kind of tall. So I feel like by the time the water got to about 6 feet, the buoy was probably out of like 10, 11 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So maybe like 10, 15 more feet out. And for whatever reason, I just had this notion I just wanted to go touch it, And I just would walk all the way out, my feet still touching the sand, walk all the way out until the water kind of got to my neck, so about 6 feet. And I kept wanting to take a few more steps. And as soon as I felt my feet leave the sand, I just kind of felt I'm not sure. I'm not sure anymore, and I'm tall, so my feet not touching the sand. It's like, all right, we in uncharted territory right now. But that just kind of made me think of the concept of, that buoy is just a man-made goal. That's just an arbitrary place that I'm trying to reach, something that I'm trying to control. Everything around me, my environment, the current is pulling me back to the beach. No, you don't need to go this way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Go back that way, and don't just, not even like it's trying to hold me back. Like, no, I just want you on the shore. Turn around. You have dry land in every direction going that way, and it's safe and meant for you. But you're out here trying to touch this thing. Yeah. So just because. It's like in that moment, I really kind of had that surreal realization of like, why am I fighting myself so much? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's obvious. Again, the current is pulling me back this way, and I'm fighting it, just trying to go out of my own way just because. Mm-hmm. So like I said, that really just kind of made me, or that's what I thought of when, you kind of said your be still, of just like, listen, your environment is really kind of telling you what's for you. This is yours. Go in this direction. Anywhere you see friction or feel friction, you're probably too close to the wall. Get back to the middle. You know, and just kind of using that as your indicators. Like, all right, if this is getting hard, I'm probably doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. You know, 'cause I feel like even within your own right, you know, within your own journey, certain things are gonna be difficult, but they're not gonna fight against you. You know, and I feel like it's just kind of being self-aware and realizing when, you know, you're kind of fighting against yourself.
Well, I would say that we are being fought against right now, and you know, I believe that we're getting answers that are telling us go to what's going to help us grow, and I think that we listened. We've been cautious. Yeah, we've been cautiously approaching it, but we know we still have to make things happen. We have to show up, but I think that we're getting to that buoy.
Yeah.
And I think
Turn
that
around.
we responded well, and I think that we should continue to know that we're going in the right direction. So I mean, I think, you know, good job, you know, with our changing of our schedules and everybody kind of stepping up to the plate, and adding on 3 more support members to kind of help us get there. You know, us being the main players of the show. So, you know, thanks guys. I'm nervous, but we here, and you know, I don't know if you want to close it out. You know, we're at the end of this episode 13.
So 13, sorry, baby.
13.
Yep.
What's
for me
is for
is
me.
for me. Thanks,
Boom,
guys.
boom, boom.
Peace.
Oh, like being a chef is something to be proud of. You know, being a chef is something that you can